Damn, the rules for these assault Terminators are looking really interesting. I sure hope that their models aren't expensive, short, and incredibly boring. So, today I will show you how you can make your own assault Terminators for a lot less than Games Workshop charges, and more importantly, a lot better looking. Obviously, you're going to need some sort of Terminator. Now, you can get either the new Leviathan Terminators for very cheap right now on eBay, or from the starter set, or you could get one of the Horus Heresy boxes, which comes with a 10-man squad of Terminators. Mind you, one of these, I can't remember which one, but the one I'm using right now, was also in the Horus Heresy starter box, so it's also very cheap on eBay, secondhand. But even if you get it from Games Workshop directly, you will be paying 70 euros, which is like $90 I think, for 10 Terminators, which still is a really solid deal, at least for GW standards. In this video I will be using the Horus Heresy ones, simply because that's what I have. And I definitely recommend that you get these if you want the Lightning Claw loadout, because, well, they already come with Lightning Claws. But let's say that you want the Storm Shields and Thunder Hammers, like I do here. Well, it's actually a lot easier than you think to get the necessary parts for this. First off, if you got the Horus Heresy Terminators, you want to add a lot of height to the figures, because they're not even the size of Primaris Marines. To do this, simply grab a bunch of milliput or green stuff and just fill in the hole that the leg peg thing is supposed to fit in. Once you've got the pose down, just wait for it to dry and then cut off the pieces that are hanging around in the back and front areas that are, you know, overhanging from you pressing in the milliput. To cover this up a bit, I added a tabard, which also makes this guy once again tie in a bit more with my Black Templars, because most of those guys are carrying tabards. First off, you want a Thunder Hammer. Now you can get these in the Assault Intercessor box, the Deathwatch Kill Team, and I believe a couple of other boxes. But in my case, I will be using some spares from the Assault Intercessor sprue. Luckily, the way the shoulder pads for these guys are made, I can just literally use an Intercessor arm and it will look fine, and just put the Terminator shoulder pads on top. But if you're using Leviathan Terminators, for example, then I recommend cutting off the hand and replacing it with the one holding the Thunder Hammer. If you're playing Black Templars like myself, you could just wrap a lot of chain around the hand, which in fact I am going to do later on, and that will make the transition seamless. That being said, in my case there was no transition to cover up because I'm just using the stock arm. The part that is a bit harder to acquire is the shield. I've seen three main ways that you could get these shields. One is from the Age of Sigmar Stormcast Eternals, the other is the Blade Guard Veterans, and lastly you have the Deathwatch Kill Team. Now I recommend that everyone should have a Deathwatch Kill Team, because that box comes with so many excellent bits, even if you don't play Deathwatch. So you should already have like 2 shields from that box, but the other ones are a bit harder to acquire. And maybe you don't even have any of the 3 boxes, or at least no spare shields. Well, in that case you can simply make your own. For this I sketched out the rough shape of a shield on a bit of plastic card. In my case it's not actual plastic card because I've never bought that stuff. It's just an old football card that I had lying around that is made out of some thick plastic, and then I cut it out with my hobby knife. That being said, just like myself, you probably didn't get a perfect symmetrical shape on the first try, but don't worry, you can simply shave off bits on the side of the shield as if you were cleaning off a mold line until it becomes roughly symmetrical. As for a way to attach the shield to the arm, I'm going to use a lot of chain once again. This is because, for one thing, it fits the Black Templar aesthetic, and for another, which is a more practical sense, I'm later on going to freehand on this shield, but I don't really want to paint 5 intricate freehands on each one of my Terminators, so I'm just going to make a couple of guys in the squads, like this one, have some simple like checkerboard patterns or something like that, with some simple insignias, and those pretty boring freehands are then going to be covered up in parts by the chains, so that they are more interesting. Also, also for the arm that is holding the shield, I use a lightning claw, I believe it's called. That is because, for one thing, it looks pretty cool, and for another, I could probably maybe technically run this as a WYSIWYG lightning claw guy, but more importantly, it just looked cool. I like the aesthetic of it. Finally, because this is Warhammer, he obviously needs a couple of skulls on him, but because he has such a big area on his backpack, I just decided to put a whole skeleton on him and chain it shut with some pieces of chain. Thank you for watching. Subscribe.